Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So it's Wednesday, and today was a bit of a roller coaster ride. At first, it started off at the top end of the range. Okay, actually, the futures were up like 10 handles when I was doing the morning call. And by the time I got to my desk, they were trickling and trickling and trickling down. And actually, it was good because you didn't feel like you were chasing the real resistance in the SPX, which was like 2120 or 212.50. So down around 211.80, I was like, okay, I could buy it here. And then the first move they did was lower, but then the things actually wound up stabilizing. We headed to the highs. Lots of things took off, whether it was Amazon that we were focusing on, whether it was Facebook or LinkedIn or the banks or a few of them. Obviously some things created more, better than others. There was a nice move. And then they did what they normally do right around when I was getting ready to go to the gym. They had to pull in to stop some people out. They didn't want to make it easy. And then, lo and behold, we closed up on the day. Some things closed well, some things didn't. Pretty much the same case, but things were a little bit stronger today. A little bit more follow through. We started seeing that yesterday. First, let's just show, show the spiders here. The past two sessions, they tried to test the lower end of the range, and it showed that the bears basically did not have much power here. They didn't have much power here when they tried. They didn't have much power here when they tried, and they didn't have much power here when they tried. And that's what created this trend of lower, a low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So, today we pushed above. Wasn't a dead close on the highs, but, that's the way this market is. It's just not doing that. So with that being said, I would say more neutral to positive with a lot of the action that we've seen. You could say the Russell, more neutral to positive. Look at that cleaner move. It closed near the highs of the session. So the Russell helping to lead. The Qs, what did you do? The Qs didn't close on the highs of the day. That's probably because, Apple's been so lethargic. So Qs still look fine, just no power. And there hasn't been that much power in this market anyway. If you go to Apple, which we just mentioned, still very tight. And it's, I don't know. I didn't come in long it. I bought it pre-market, probably right around 130.40, and I got stopped out, when it went close to negative. So does it mean it's a short? I don't know. Does it mean there's no power? Yes. Does it mean that it's not ready to go back to highs as of now? But I tend to like Apple when it's leading the market higher versus lagging and people buying it because the market's up and it doesn't go up. That sometimes gives you a sign of something. So at this point, we still know this 129.10 is or 12 is support, and then you have 129.32. And I don't know if they just want to do it when no one's looking and you see a crazy big volume spike and that's when you go after it, or first day the market pulls in, it breaks down a little bit. We shall see. Last time it wedged right here, it was a nice move to the upside. Now it's wedging again. And I guess we'll see. It's getting pretty tight. I don't think Apple can get much tighter than this. As far as things that were better, Amazon was better. Amazon, didn't really, take off and go to the races, but it did clear this spot. You could have bought it actually in the first 30 minutes. I bought it actually pre-market and was able to make money there. And it seems as if something should go back to its highs, you would think it could be Amazon. Usually Amazon and Netflix move together. Netflix did not. Maybe it wants its own day in the sun, or I don't know. But at this particular point, it was out of play. So if you were buying Netflix because Amazon was strong, you probably were a little bit frustrated. So at this point, it's still in the range, still above the 8-day. At this point, if you've been in it, since it cleared this spot, or you've been in it since the earnings gap, this day doesn't really matter to you. If you're in it trying to figure out if it's strong for momentum, right now, it doesn't seem that way unless some kind of news comes out, but we'll see. Really, the action was in Facebook, and I think a lot of guys caught it. If that's you, congratulations. I talked about the red dog reversal. Like, look at this strategy, guys. You had your first igniting move here. Okay, that could have made you some decent money. Then it definitely shook people up for a good 2 weeks till finally you had this clear red dog reversal right there. For some people, what they do is they buy at 78.88 and say, I'm putting a stop here and I'm going to go to sleep and make a lot of money. And that's what you did if you were in this for these 3 days. Some people will say, okay, I'm going to buy it here, sell 2/3 at the end of the day, hold the third, and then yesterday it was negative. You could have bought that back, bought it when it cleared here, sold some strength, and then still held a third. And then, if you stayed with that third and added above this pivot here, and closed strong, you made good money. Or if you just, did some stuff with it, you did really well. Nice volume today, big volume spike. Don't know if it's just going to go back to highs, but, 3 up days with some volume, you would think you'd get a little follow through tomorrow. LinkedIn, I started talking about in the beginning of the week that it had its day one. Everyone's like, red dog, what's a day one? What's a day one? Well, let me show you what a day one is. This is a day one. So if you were looking for a day one in LinkedIn, there you had it. Then it was actually lower the day after. You could have bought it down, added through the prior high, and if you stayed with it saying, you know what, I'm going to hold some, it's acting better, I'm going to wait to see, if it could trade into the gap, you know what, you got rewarded on a big upgrade today. So here's your 3 up days, and now we'll see if it holds steady. There's a big gap to fill, so you shouldn't probably just be shorting it, but you have to be a little careful along it considering the 3 days it just had. But at least if you bought it on day 1 and added day 2, you could have sold day 3. Or bought it on day 1, added in the hold, added here, you could have got out there and still made 2 days worth of gains. Whatever it is you do in your process. As far as GPRO, just to mention, because I actually went out short this, which is usually something I don't do. I needed something short because I have a bunch of longs on. It tried to turn tail here, where some people probably took it short. It was upgraded, so it couldn't hold the upgrade. It's extended from the 8 and 21 days, so I'm thinking maybe it comes in a little bit. I'd rather, I guess, take this short versus, the spiders or whatever. So that's what I did with that. The banks have been real strong. Goldman Sachs did close off the highs, but it's been riding this 8-day on the move. Morgan Stanley, something I got into today. First clean move, closed all right. Back to highs. I've been talking about it getting back to highs since here. If you've held it the whole time, you did better than I did. Citigroup also, first clean move. Goldman Sachs upgraded it and didn't really do great that day, but then regrouped yesterday, closed pretty well. This too probably should be taking out the highs there at some point. Bank of America, how'd you do today? Nice clean move. The stock's been moving much better ever since it broke the descending channel right here, which we've mentioned many times, above all the moving averages, and that's when you like to be in stocks. You don't like to be in something when it's below all the moving averages. And the TLTs give you your first shot across the bow here when it broke the 8-day, then again when it broke the 21-day. So here was your out if you're a momentum trader, either here or here. Okay, and then it gave you this small island reversal. Some guys played it for a bounce, right? Why not? You have this island reversal. You don't know whether it's going to stick. You could have bought it after the fact right there and said, I'll give it to the low here. Made a nice little bounce. Then all of a sudden it started going sideways, not knowing what's next, lower, high. Then it became this really tight scenario. So if you were long it or you were looking to get shorted, you would say, okay, if it breaks this area, I'm out. What happened? It broke that area right there. Retested and then boom. Through the 200-day, retested the 200-day, came back to the 200-day on Friday, tested it, and boom. So that's telling you that the street's anticipating some kind of liftoff. Whether the data comes in weak or decent or up, these 4 days down or below all the moving averages telling you that, the Fed needs some kind of credibility, and chances are I've been saying September for 3 months, and I still think it's September. As far as other things, I like this Mobileye. It's not like ready to go yet, but remember we talked about it at this red dog reversal right here. This was a nice one. Okay, and then it's had a big move. It's been going sideways. It was trying to wake up a little bit today. This, I would say, is a feeler position. And then if it were to break above that with some volume, it could get better. A lot of people are starting to talk about the technology, with the cars and safety. There was some kind of truck article today about how they need to have some kind of safety vibration system, whatever it is, and that's what this car does, or this software does, where, if you're driving a car, I think what it does is when you're driving a car and you start getting close to another car, it kind of, shakes a little bit, to tell you, oh, buddy, you're getting close to the other car, or whether it's a line or, it's pretty cool technology. We were all over this last year. It didn't really act well, and then this year it woke up, and now we'll see if it can continue. So whatever. It's more of a concept play, not really a turn-on trade. Let's see what else. Google has its shareholder meeting today. It is now above, it's above the moving averages. Couldn't really get going today, but it's turned into more of a B to B plus play to perhaps get back to these highs versus nothing. and we'll see what happens after the shareholder meeting. Maybe they'll talk about some kind of capital return plan or whatnot. Let's hope that it's not a disappointment. I actually have some of this. I do still have some of the Facebook, and I still have some of the Amazon, and I still have some Morgan. So I have a few things. The only thing I didn't take home is the spiders, just in case the spiders are down, but I'm not hedging them either. We could open lower. That's fine. You know, I feel like the way they trade these ranges, I'll be able to get out of it one way or another. Metals, I don't know who's trading these metals. These metals are horrendous. You know, we've talked about these metals, and everyone loves to hear what I have to say because of my big, bold call way back in 2008 when I said that, you know, it was going to 850. And that was right back here. That was when it traded really well technically. Remember this inverted head and shoulders pattern? That was the reason why I talked about this going to 1500. Clean move, boom, rode the 8-21 day all the way to this false breakout. That was your sell signal. And then if you didn't do it there, when it broke major, major, major support right here, that was your exit. I know everyone was talking doomsday. You need to hold gold if just in case the world ends. I'd rather own, you know, a six-pack of Sam Adams or a case or a party bowl and a few, you know, pizza pies, not gold. You know, unless you want to use it as a, I don't know, as a weapon. But anyway, it broke here. That was a spot to exit on a macro level. You know, this was really more of your 8-21 day right there. That was your intermediate, and now it's just hovering down here, doing a hell of a lot of nothing. And who knows? It could go lower, it could not. But you know, on a day-to-day basis, it's not giving you really anything to do whatsoever, except for pull your hair out if you're trying to figure out what, you know, what's next year, because it's below the moving averages. It's not correlated really to currencies anymore. It's not a safety trade. It's not a world's ending trade. I don't know what it is, and that's why, you know, I don't focus on it. I do put levels in there because people watch gold, and I just think it's very hard, and a lot of it's overnight. So might as well just flip some coins and, you know, figure out if you can make money that way versus trying to time which way gold's going to go. What else happened today? What else was on? What did oil do? Oil opened up lower, and you know, had it, you know, had a 4-day up move. We'll see what happens in here. Some guys were bottom feeding WYNN. Gave you 2 days. Hard to see that coming. You know, the stock's been battered and bruised and broken, and then you know, I guess you know, I don't really see what you know. There was no like real reversal pattern, no huge volume. It just tickled back up, so you'll see there. Twitter, you know, some people were trying to get me in Twitter today, and I was in it, and I put a stop in when I went to my lunch meeting, and I didn't come back to it. You know, some are saying, isn't this considered a day one? It somewhat is. You know, it engulfed these 3 days, so if you were looking for a way into Twitter, maybe today you had your way in. There's been a few volume spikes, you know, along the way here that have failed. Here it failed, there it failed, you know, here it kind of failed. So I'm not sure what's going to happen here. But if you want to be in a tier 1, I would just say be in a tier 1 just in case something changes here. You know, let's see the volume on Twitter today, if there was any like real volume. Volume, okay, no real volume, you know. So we'll see though. It's been getting tighter, and it could go if something happens with the CEO or whatnot. So with all that said, we haven't been in a perfect market for a while, so I can't say today wasn't a perfect day. It's never perfect. Life's not perfect. You know, you deal with whatever happens. You manage your trades, you manage your life based on the environment around you and the position you put yourself in. The market right now seems like it's trying to get a little traction, get a little momentum. We are seeing a few things that we haven't seen over the course of the past 2 weeks, whether it was day 1 giving you a day 2, day 3 like you saw on LinkedIn and Facebook, whether it was a little bit of a push in Amazon, or whether it was banks having continuation, one-off type trades across the board. You know, you do get, you know, some stocks that are just left on the sidelines, where that's the way it is when you know, the market's not just going bananas. You have to be specific on your strategy and your stock, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. We still have the Greece situation to deal with. You still have Jobs Friday to deal with, and I don't think you know, chasing price hasn't worked. Buying resistance still, it hurts. Shorting a pull-in doesn't help you know, your hedges. So playing the ends of the ranges and looking for the relative strength has been the way to go. And you know, you still are getting like little news plays like this one, like this VLTC, where you had a big wide range bar on volume. You know, I played this into the end of the day. I'm not sure if I have it overnight. I have to check to see if I got filled, but this was a nice play. You know, you look at the 5-minute chart. I think we bought a little bit on the pullback, and this was in a decent trend all day to close strong with heavy volume. So I think this is an icon scenario, and some of them work, some of them don't. This is not the way you're going to make a living, though. But I guess some people trade the news and trade the volume and do, because trading some of the big names are a little crowded. So anyway, pick where you want to choose, trade how you want to run your system and process, and just try and keep your frustration down, because there are things to do if you are planned and you see things clearly. Have a great night. I'll see you tomorrow.